Shovik can embarrass, and he has done. So let's start from there. I'll break it up into three sections. One is what is cognitive? Second is software and data. And third is how to get it done. The premise is that software by nature was supposed to be deterministic. But by the mid-2000, 2002, 2003, almost everything that was theoretically possible and modelable in deterministic sense was almost done. There was no new scope. And slowly we started entering into the human domain. The cognitive, if you look at the dictionary meaning of it, has very mundane and normal words which are not so easy to define, like intuition, perception, and such like things, which actually, or rather, we are not yet intelligent enough to logicize. So that's the domain of cognitive. So we don't know why it happens, but these things do happen, and there's a pattern to it, and we try to recognize that pattern. And that's exactly where the cognitive thing is starting to get into more valuable things beyond just calculating and being a number crunching part. Now, if you look at the software on the other hand, software essentially, to me, is nothing more than using the best brains to work for everyone. So you get the best person of a particular subject, and everyone else can use his knowledge, and as if it's his presence which is always there with you. So the best optical physicists are probably writing something like a Photoshop, and someone who's a graphic artist is able to use it just because that person did the conversion and he's able to use the best of technologies. This is the off-coded thing, and I would probably be a little contrarian on that part, and I would go a little bit ahead or say what are the fine prints. Yes, data is the new oil, but not every company is a refinery, and that has to be very clearly understood. And without refining that oil, it's not usable, nor does it become something which can give energy or currency. So refining that data is the basic part of what the entire focus of cognitive science or cognitive software is all about. And that's why it's a big deal, because it does risk, because not everyone is as bright as the brightest person. So what happens to the normal person is obviously a moral and a workforce question. But at the same time, the fact that it can do a lot of good is unquestionable, because we are being able to reuse and repurpose the same thing multiple amount of time. Data by itself has a very unique feature. Physically, a concept of time machine is till now untenable. I'm not sure of the future, but it does seem to be quite an impossible thing standing at this point of time. But data does give you that sort of a feeling of a time machine, because you can go back and forth in time and understand what things have happened. Even someone who has not been part of that journey or that particular instance can be shared parts of it to get his own perspective just by sharing data. Now, if you look at it, and I'll come to a very mundane use case of it and how things get done, that's exactly what cognitive science is all about and how it does it. The basic principle of cognitive science is, no matter how each one of us is unique, but we do fall into narrow bands. And that's the basis of that part, that if X, Y, Z has done A, then the chance of you being like X, Y, or Z will make you also do A. So that's actually very hurting to the ego, but it does work magic. The fact that Google is asking, like he said, about the ratings when you're at a particular place is that you trust human beings' judgment more than the machine-based system. When it comes to judgment and soft aspects, the fact that it's human matters more. So a lot of data is about collecting human emotions, mining through it, matching it, and that. That's where the magic happens. Be it a DeepMind, be it Watson, their matching algorithms is what we're looking at. But fundamentally, the data is coming from human, and that's the connect we are trying to do. Before, I could get the opinion of 5 people, 10 people. Today, with this particular thing, I'm able to collate the opinion of millions of people. And that's where the strength is. And that's where the dilemma is. Now, shortly, as I said, I'll go to some use cases of data and look at it. On the premise of it, we are working on something like satellite image analysis, and we are helping farmers. We are able to detect, let's say, diseases 6 days before even the human eye can detect. and we're able to protect the farm even without knowing what the disease is by just marking an area and saying burn off the crop before that. Now that is a big deal, but it does give that question as to what is the right balance of going from human intelligence to this sort of a thing. As long as it's gainful for most, we have to go down that path. The other example is in my previous capacity as CTO of Jasdal, like that Shobhik was saying, we realized that giving someone what is commensurate with his aspirations is more important than what his previous behavior has been. And that's what creates the magic. That's what brings in words which are not yet in the domain of software, like serendipity and forward projection, foretelling, crystal ball, and stuff like that. And that's where the magic lies. And that's the part that we are exploring and doing it. It's immense potential, and it's a long journey and easy, and it's not easy to implement, like has been told before. I think with that thought, I will stop it, and I'll wait for questions to answer, which is a much better thing to do. Thank you.